All right, so Wes, on to you next. How do you politely but firmly tell male industry peers not to refer to yourself and colleagues as girls? It is condescending and unnecessary, but difficult to rebuttal when they're from another company working on your project.
Okay, this question is really interesting. And I think before I'd embarked on this journey with Andy, I'm going to actually use a technique that you've taught me, Andy, on our Be the Change, fuck the Cupcakes group. So this is a technique that we've outlined in the Be the Change campaign. You can go to bethechange.com.au to check out the actual technique itself. But it's a really good way of disarming men without having to be that confrontational. Like, men have got egos. We're quite hard to talk to. Me and Katie might differ slightly on this response or answer, but I found this technique really useful, and it's to kind of make the situation, just inject a bit of light humor into it to disarm, to kind of make it not a massive issue unless it needs to be. And that technique is to say, well, I don't know whether this is happening face to face or whether it's through emails, but either way, I think you can just say, come on, it's 2022. This is a technique Andy's taught me, and I think it's great, and we've used it in the campaign, like I said. Or you say, girls, ? Okay, granddad. Or you say, get out there, hey, these guys. I think, come on, it's 2022 is a really good way, or come on, X date, is a really good way of disarming and helping you get into the topic without having to get on the soapbox and be really confrontational with whoever is referring to you as girls. That could be the icebreaker. And then I think, depending on how the room takes it, how the person takes it, you can then just say, can you just call us team or everyone or whatever you want the pronoun to be, or even just say, just call us by our names. I think that would be a much more well-received way of you having that conversation without having to make it a big thing. Unless, of course, that kind of way of disarming or way of that icebreaker is met in a really negative way, then I think you can obviously escalate it to your leader or boss for them to have the conversation with whoever is referring to you as the girls. Do you want to add anything to that, Katie or Andy?
Yeah, sure, I will. Look, I really like that, Wes, and I haven't heard it before. And I think there are there are certainly a number of methodologies that you can use. So you could use humor, you could use all sorts of things, but there are two things that I would reinforce here. The first one is do it in a way that sets you up for success. So whether you're naturally, because it's got to be in your style, you know. So if you're naturally playful, or you've naturally got a sense of humor, or you know who these people are, you can read the room, you know whether email, immediacy, one-on-one afterwards, in a group setting, in a public setting, and also how you can hold and embody the truth of what's there for you in a way that's going to elicit success. The second thing I want to say is, and I've spoken about this previously on Asking for a Friend, and truthfully, in my clinical practice, it's probably the number one. In fact, I would say it is the number one aspect that we all work with, which is boundaries, right? And a boundary is, it's simply put, an emotional boundary is a delineation between where I begin and end and where you begin and end, right? And a boundary is not there, actually. It's not about the other, it's about keeping me safe. And it's about me being an advocate for, these are the rules of engagement if we're gonna be in relationship in any way with each other that need to be respected. And the only person who can hold those, articulate those, and convey those, of course, is me, because they're mine. So it might be, look, I don't want to be touched like that, or I don't want to be spoken to like that, or, you know, some obvious ones around, you know, physicality and so on. But it is really important for each of us that we can feel we can give voice to, advocate for our needs, And in fact, I've got this book. I don't know why I'm desperate to write a book. I don't know why. It's becoming more and more and more pervasive in my life. And the title of this book is called Reclaiming I Matter. And there are so many situations, professionally and personally, where we allow behaviors that make us feel uncomfortable. And we don't give voice to the truth of what's there because there's discomfort for us and it's challenging. Thank you, Nina. And this would be for me a further continuation of it, right? Oh look, I've got two buyers. I've got Sophie and Nina. There you go. But this for me is a further continuation of that because whether or not the three of us deem that to be something that is okay or not okay isn't the decider. It's for each of us to be an advocate for. I'm just communicating that this is where their boundary is for me. So in other words, that was quite a long answer, but I love what you had to say, Wes. If you naturally are playful and have humor and that fits with you, that for me is great. I've never heard that before. Do it in any way you want to do it, but please do it because, for us to go through life and not give voice to our truth diminishes our power and it makes us feel smaller and less than. So it's, reclaim your needs is my message here.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, like in the work that we've been doing over the past sort of 6 to 12 months, one of the things that we've certainly noticed is that there's probably a bunch of people out there that want to be told, right? Like they actually don't want to make mistakes, and so hopefully it does get received well. The other thing I think you can do is do it in a safer space as possible. So you might talk to it about it with some peers or some colleagues or some friends, and actually you bring it up when they're around. As a way of going, well, actually, I know that I've got some people in the room that have got my back as well, and I think that can definitely help. So yeah, great answers.